Hello and welcome back to another one of these here Handcam streams. Had a little bit of difficulties, but nothing new on that end. Okay, why can I hear myself now? Do I have my own stream up somewhere? Ah, there it is. Dope. All right. So, we've got another one of these dragons that I could do the same way as last week, or I could do one of these hero guys. You may notice, if you watched the VOD, that this is a different camera than last time, a little bit better. I got myself a document scanning one, and... I made it so that it can stream. So, if it's not working, let me know. Otherwise, yeah. Do we want to do a hero or two? Let's do one of the smaller figures to start with. Let's start with a pink dress, shall we? Today was an interesting day. I didn't get much sleep, but after I got off of work, I had one of my friends from work come over. We both got off roughly the same time. We hung out in the parking lot for a little bit, and then he came over to check out my setup. He wanted to see the whole process of 3D printing. So I showed him how one of the sites where I get my 3D prints from, showed him the downloading, because he's like fascinated by the technology side of things. He didn't even know like what like a liquid cooler for a PC did. I had to tell him about that, but showed him how to set up the thing, how in theory for a model, if you were going to support it, what that would look like. Because sometimes the models you get from smaller creators mostly just don't have supports on them. You need to do it yourself. And I remember distinctly several of the early projects that I had needed me to learn how to do my own supports. I didn't really trust the ones that came automatically, even from professionals. And then once you got your file, you got to slice it and get it ready to go and load it onto the thing. I showed him the last failure that I had, which I just left in the machine so that I could show him how to remove a print from the bed. And the entire washing and curing situation. We were there so long, I guess he didn't tell his girl where he was or that he was going to be hanging out, so she like called in the middle of explaining stuff. He's like, oh man, I gotta go ahead and go home soon. I was like, yeah, I know. He wanted to stay an extra half hour. Hello, Sarah. Welcome in. Please get comfortable. I was just talking about my day. Today we're going to be painting up this little gal. For starters, this won't take the entire time, I'm sure. Last time he was over, I showed him the airbrushing setup, so I did need to show him that this time. And this table wasn't exactly set up at the time, so I just kind of didn't bother with showing him any painting stuff. But he, like I said, he had a ball just listening to me talk, and I had a lot of fun just talking about the stuff that I'm interested in. Normally people don't like to do that. People like talking about their own interests. I'm one of them, but it takes a special kind of person to listen. Those people are mostly online, not in person. After that, I went to sleep, got probably 5 hours of sleep, which, you know, it's something. And then woke up and I decided to play a little bit of Baldur's Gate because I've been talking with some friends in a group chat and the subject had gone over to Baldur's Gate. Internet dwellers we are, yes. Chronically Online, which goes somewhere between haha yes I am too to mildly concerning depending on who you're talking to. I decided to make a new Baldur's Gate file because the previous save, the one that I put the most work into, is on a different computer. And the way that the cloud backups worked is that it gave me my most recent file for that particular save. Unfortunately, the most recent file is, of course, not the one that I need, because I accidentally got a lot of people killed by doing something out of order. Whoops. So I needed to go back and redo about an hour of content, and that file save didn't migrate over. So I was like, ah, screw it. Just start over. So this time I am playing as a halfling bard. Got about 300 hours on it, but I've never actually finished the game. Lots of starting over and over. Same. I have made probably 4 or 5 different attempts at it, and I've never beaten Act 2. The file I was talking about was the one that I got the furthest on, and I didn't even get to Moonrise Towers. And then, of course, since I'm looking up, like, oh, like, Baldur's Gate, like, good class recommendations or something, because they've had several patches between then and now, my entire YouTube feed is just filled with Baldur's Gate content, so I'm back to trying to dodge spoilers because people put spoilers in the names of their videos. Bastards. I get to Act 3 and all of a sudden it's boring, and then 4 months pass and I start a new one because I forget what was happening. Fair. I know a lot of stuff on the early game because I've done it so often, so I kind of get it up to a point, but yeah. Especially since your choices tend to change some things about the story later on. Like there'll be whole quest lines that don't exist because somebody died. I seriously considered each time that I got a companion whether I wanted to actually bring them on, or it's like, you know, what would a run be like if I just never found Astarion? Or what would it be like if I just like high-fived Will and then crammed him back in the portal? Not Will, Gale. This is the run is going to be obstinately a good one. Of course, I'm going to be romancing Karlach, my girl. But I know that they've added a way to get Minthara in the group even in a good run, so you don't have to betray everybody to get her. So I'm gonna see if I can get that this time, because I've never had her in the party. Karlach, yes. She's my girl. The first time that I played through, I was originally gonna romance Shadowheart because I saw her first and was like, okay, she's kind of cute, and then met Karlach and she's like, okay, it's fine. And I got to the scene in the party where you romance somebody and talked to Shadowheart, got it all set up, and then talked to Karlach, and she just was like, oh yeah, it's another day for Karlach not getting picked first. I was just like, oh, Shadowheart seems a little bit reluctant, but Karlach was like 110% on board. So my very, very first run, when I did playing the open beta, I was playing a male dwarf, and that was during the time when everybody's romance stat was broken, so you went from 0 to 100 with everybody as soon as you talked to them. And so I think that they were doing it just to get people to notice the romancing options, which probably wasn't needed, but I talked to Astarion first because he was an interesting character, and his dialogue lines are... the way that he talks normally is flirty, so I didn't realize that I was setting up a romance at the time until he's like, yeah, why don't you just come over, we can have a word later. And I'm like, all right. And then there was a scene where my dwarf accidentally became gay, and I was like, oh, good for him. I learned something about that dwarf that day. Yeah, I remember the scene where you tell Karlach that you have feelings for her, and you're like, oh, I have something to tell you, but you go first. And then you're like, Karlach, I love you. And she's like, I love you too. Oh my god, I couldn't believe it. We have the same thing to talk about. She's like, she's the most awkward and the cutest one by far. I mean, it locks you into a good playthrough because she'll leave if you're too evil, but that's like not even that big of a restriction. And if I had thought about if I was painting this pink before, I might have come in with a lighter color instead of black for the base, for the primer. The umbrella's got to match, right? At least on the top part. So last time was so quiet and I didn't realize that I was just sitting there in silence for so long. So this time, hopefully it's playing out, but I've got some music playing in the background from a game that's supposed to be streamed. Some nice smooth jazz. Let me know if you'd rather stream your own music. I can go back to listening to silence or just turn it off. But the game that I have on has some idle aspects to it, so if you just leave it on in the background, you'll continuously get some money and then come back. Alright, good. I had some settings originally set up so that when I talked, game music would get quieter, but it ended up being awkward with the way that the music is piped out of the audio splitter and into OBS, like when things are separated and streamed. So I ended up with double audio and there's no way that I could reasonably fix it. So in theory, I could do the same steps directly into the audio mixer and get it to do the same thing. I've just been kind of lazy about it. But never have I ever actually had audio work 100% in a stream. Alright, that's pretty close. Skin tones. I think that I had one. Yeah. So the other day, yesterday, I was scrolling around the internet, got an email from a site that's like Kickstarter that I've used before, and they were advertising a re-release of the paints that I use. Like they've kind of rebranded a little bit, and so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And they were essentially releasing the entire line as one set with a steep discount, and they were pretty expensive, but there was a 72-hour discount for if you jump in at the start of the campaign. So anyway, I've got something like 120 paints that are going to be showing up in the next probably couple months. Because these ones, like, they're fine, but even this one it just kind of looks chunky. So I know that it's not as good as it could be. Because these paints are all old. I haven't used them in a while. I'm just lucky that they work at all. These paints are about $4 a bottle. MSRP. Which isn't a lot individually, but when you want to have like 4 or 5, they quickly start to add up. Yeah. It was not entirely cheap, but I figured if the paints that I'm using now are still workable, even if I don't use them very much, and I do plan on using them, they won't go bad for a while, and having all the colors will be cool. Because this paint line has some of my favorite browns and metallics that I've ever used. The metallics in particular are pretty darn sweet. Just need to get a little bit more underneath here. There we go. Okay, I think next I want a white. Do I even have a white? I think last time I ended up using this blue because I don't have a white on hand. I think there's a primer in there, but that's not the same thing. But this blue should contrast with this pink, which is a red shade or tint, and in theory it'll make it pop a little bit better. I remember this one video from way back in the day. They had they were teaching you how to do flesh shading and how to get the coloration of it right. And their technique was basically to use a green as a base and then go over it in a red. And separately, they look really jarring and not too great. But then once they're layered on top of each other, it sinks into this brown. But since they don't mix completely, the green and the red contrast off of each other just a little bit and really show off the detail in the figure. You know, when I was scheduling this particular stream, I didn't know if I should put it at midnight or not, because when the time shifts over, is it going to make it yesterday at midnight, like as the clock turns from 23 to 24, or as the clock goes from 24 to 25? I didn't know which way it would round, and I didn't want to have the stream pop up, you know, a whole day early. So that's why it ended up being 11 minutes and 55, or 11:55. You got the point across, but then I had set up a print last night, and because I got distracted with Baldur's Gate, I didn't wash and cure it, but I decided to get that out of the way right before the stream started, so up until like 5 minutes before, I was tossing things in and out of the isopropyl alcohol to wash them off. Luckily, with the new wash and cure station that I got, I can just set it to cure for an amount of time and then walk away, and it'll just stop. Whereas my old one, you had to manually stop it. So if I walked away from it and just left it going, it would just continue to bake the thing for eternity. Not exactly something that's you want to come back to, just as a waste of power for one, but then the resin shrinks ever so slightly when it's being cured, which is not a problem if you cure it for 6 minutes, and then it's fine and good to go. But if it's in there for a day, then you could have some serious shrinkage problems. On the worst end of that spectrum would be just the pieces breaking. Midnight streams are good since you're 8 hours ahead. Yeah. Because I know that if I could wake up at normal human times and stream in the morning, that would be like prime time Europe time. But that is exactly when I go to sleep. I know, because I used to watch a European streamer when I had the job that made me get up really early for it. Because I would just listen in on my headset, you know, pop in some Bluetooth, and just tool around listening to stream. It was nice. It was good times. Obviously couldn't be very active in chat. I was working, but even being able to listen in was nice. Accidentally got a little bit of blue where there was pink, but it's fine. Probably going to get hidden by shadows. Now, do I want to give brown hair or black hair? Black hair, I would just want to do some gray highlighting. Where brown hair, I would need to pick a color or a couple colors. Man, I don't even have a gray other than this blue color. Really scraping the bottom of the barrel over here. I do a couple shades of brown. Yeah, it won't be too dark. Tomorrow I'm planning on streaming same time, and we're going to be starting a new game that I played maybe 20-30 minutes of, but it's a walking simulator game. It's also a horror game. I am not the biggest fan of horror games, specifically jump scares, but I do eventually want to finish that story. It's not exactly a topical game, so saving it for October doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It'll probably take 2 streams, just because it's supposed to be like 4 to 6 hours, I think. It'll be better than the last couple times that I played Claire Obscura for sure. The timings are just so dang tight. Really badly telegraphed. I hate to tell you this, but watching a streamer play a game with jump scares, you might get jump scared yourself if you're paying attention. It's probably fine. Experiencing secondhand jump scare, which is somehow not as bad. Yeah. There were a couple jump scares in mouthwashing, but I was, for the most part, able to power through them through sheer brute force and ignorance. I don't know, they felt a little bit out of nowhere. The ones in mouthwashing, I didn't really get quite so tense beforehand as I've experienced with other games where they have a whole atmosphere planned right ahead of the jump scare to get you paying attention and quiet and leaning forward in your chair before blasting you with 120 decibels and a witch facing screen or something. I think this one might be on its last legs. Not exactly gonna have an infinite amount of this brown forever. PT was entirely ambience. That was just the name of the game. So yeah, it got you in the mood, it grabbed a hold of you, got you paying attention, looking for changes in the patterns, and then, yeah, you turn around the corner and there's a fetus or something. That might have been not Silent Hill, that might have been Resident Evil Village. Was it Kojima? I believe so. Because it was supposed to be a ad for the next Silent Hill, and then I think it got pulled for some reason. So next we gotta bring down the pink a little bit, back down to reality. Yeah, fetus in the sink, that's what I was... Actually, I was thinking specifically about the giant fetus from the Resident Evil game that chases you in the sewers or something. That man ain't right. I'm sure it was entirely story relevant and required for the plot to have the fetus in the sink, but that doesn't really remove the horror. So the thing about washes is they are naturally, where they pool in ends up being a little bit glossy. And so if you're not careful with it and you glob it on too much, you'll end up with like a greasy forehead on your mini, for lack of a better term. But it's also a good idea to do the highlighting afterwards, because at that point you can it will like the chalkiness of the paint will help bring back down to a more satin or matte finish. Satin being not quite as glossy as gloss, but not quite as matte as matte. It's a little bit in between. I don't know if you've been paying attention to a lot of different creators, but the thing that everybody, at least on my timeline, has been playing is the Uma Musume horse girl racing game. And it has been everywhere. I haven't wanted to play because I'm not really super into gacha games like that. And I just know that I get frustrated because there's a very heavy RNG component to the actual races, which is the whole campaign. But people have been finding their horse girl and putting their like entire fandoms behind this. Just several different ones, but there are definitely favorites. It's apparently relatively free-to-play friendly. Obviously, you can pay to get better stuff, but if you wanted to go into it and not pay anything, it's apparently fine. There are some games where you really cannot afford to play it if you're not spending money on it. Magic being one of those games. You can have some serious issues if you're not cracking packs. I've considered putting some money into my Magic the Gathering Arena game account, but the potential reward is not guaranteed, as in I might not get good cards and nobody might watch it, so kind of leaning towards maybe not doing that. You're a mere peasant? Yeah. Some games are just god-awful. There was one game that I played, Valkyrie Connect, and it was pretty heavily weighted towards the whales. I played it long enough that I could kind of almost get by, but if you looked at the rankings for the world leaders, it was a bunch of fresh accounts from earlier that year, because you could get like one good thing from like the suit, keep re-rolling new accounts until you get the super rarest thing on offer, and then put a little bit of money in, get the next couple in line for power, and then just go for try and get world first or the season leader. Gotta be careful. Might not be entirely dry yet. I was talking to some coworkers the other day and was telling them that, yeah, like I've had Solitaire on my phone, but it had too many ads, so I went and found one with less ads on it, and they were blown away by that. They're like, wait, there's more than one Solitaire? It's like, yeah. Solitaire is kind of, I don't know if it's open source or what, but like, there's a bunch of different Solitaires you can find. And so that sent us down the rabbit hole of different games that you can get for free and having to pay for some of them and watching ads on others. And eventually we were talking about how our different experiences growing up with computers, because the people I was talking to were a little bit older, and so they grew up learning about computers in like high school and college as kind of a passing thing, whereas I learned about it more closer to like middle school, high school. And like it didn't quite catch with them, so they didn't follow and become internet dwellers, but the stuff that I can do is very impressive to the older generation. I was showing them a demi-legal copy of a Game Boy game that I have emulated onto my phone. It's a marketable skill. Of course it is. If you can open a PDF, then you've got a marketable enough skill. You can play Doom on a calculator. Absolutely. I've never put Doom on anything, but I know that you can get it to run on a printer. Basically anything with a screen and any amount of memory. Just a non-zero amount of memory, Doom. If we ever find an alien spaceship, we'll have Doom on it by the end of the week. Just having an engineer on staff will cause Doom to manifest onto the alien spaceship in the government's possession. Pirate software stuff. I was watching a video today that was unrelated to the major drama that was happening. So he's had a bad couple months. I remember when he got in hot water for the WoW Classic scandal, or the hardcore mode, the server where if you die in the game, your character gets deleted. And he like left a raid in progress because they started to wipe, and he saved himself. And like, you can rationalize that all you want, and yes, the game mechanics allow you to do that. It's still kind of a dick move when you're the tank. And so that was the original drama that I thought he was involved in. And then he got into the stuff with the Stop Killing Games initiative. And it was kind of the same, a little bit of the same thing. He's got this ego that doesn't allow him to be wrong in a provable way, unless he figures it out on his own. And if you try and convince him, then he just shuts down. There are a lot of people like this, but he is definitely one of them. And the most recent one that I saw was what did he do? I don't even remember. There was one from today that I was seeing. Oh, like one of his mods was artificially lengthening the hype trains, because one of his big things on his channel is he keeps breaking the record for the Twitch hype train. And I guess he wasn't going to make it, or he wasn't getting enough support at one time. So one of his mods is would go on a different account pretending to be a friend of the mod and would just give it a little kick, and with the kind of understanding that he would be paid back by Pirate later. So they were essentially trying to buy the record. Yeah, that, like, I was watching that video today, so that's like super recently came out. The DMs got leaked because he was streaming and he accidentally alt-tabbed into Discord and the DMs were up. So like, he just absolutely screwed himself. His code is really not good. Yeah. I don't even know what he did for Blizzard. And that was his big thing, was like, I worked for Blizzard for 7 years or whatever it was. Like, there's entire clip compilations. Oh, and he also said that he never brags about that. And I saw a supercut that was 7 minutes long of just him saying, worked at Blizzard for 7 years. He was like the first Nepo employee because his dad worked there, and he was basically born into it. 7 whole minutes of just those words. Yeah, dude, okay. You never brag about it. I learned about him originally from YouTube shorts, where he would just say positive stuff or just react to chat, and it was funny. And that's all that I knew him for the longest time. And apparently, that has got to be the best way to experience him. In very small doses of general life advice and nothing specific. I have a cat right by my elbow, but I don't think her meows are being picked up by the microphone. Yeah, there's just no free lunch with big content creators. Like, half of them are like have signs of psychopathy or something. It's kind of like CEOs. You don't really make it to the top if you're mostly normal. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure that I could talk about some, but it just seems like anytime somebody gets really big, they'll do something. It's like, oh, and now they're exposed, and now they just the worst human imaginable. Like every time. I'm gonna see if this metallic still works. The brass that these guys put out was definitely my favorite brass ever to be made. It's not completely separated. I just need a tiny bit. If you do hear her, let me know. But I think that her meow is going to be blocked by the noise gate. The noise gate that was the entire reason that I bought this microphone, but then it didn't want to work in the same ways. I don't know. Getting it to work was confusing. I don't even think it's the microphone's fault. I think it was the fault of the sound mixer again. But they were supposed to be compatible, so whatever. Me and sound is just gonna be eternal enemies. Dang. I was thinking at one point of getting a second microphone and having it point specifically at where the cat will usually sit and meow for pets. But it'd probably just hear my chair creaking around or any of the random stuff. If I've got the sensitivity high enough for it to detect the cat, most likely it's just going to be hearing random stuff in the room. Handcam, kitty cam. If they ever picked a spot that they liked to be in and consistently enough that I could actually put a camera on one specific corner of a room and just have like a live kitty reaction feed, I definitely would. But unfortunately, they move around too much and they don't tend to like the same spot, except for the chair that I like to sit on, my desk chair. They have been seen on that chair quite a bit. Like if I get up and then go into my room, this cat in particular will take that as a sign that I have forfeited the chair, will no longer be using it for the night, and if I come out after like a shower or something, she will be in the chair. Clearly. Meow. Alright, she's got this weird shadow on the side of her face that I think it's part of the sculpt. I'm gonna try brightening it up a little bit, but I don't think I can do a whole lot with it. Yeah, I don't think that's helping all that much. I think her face is just slightly lopsided is the problem. This is what happens when you use an older sculpt that was actually hand sculpted. They're a little bit lopsided, you know? But yeah. There she is. Might be a good idea to transfer her to a different base. But how long did that take? About an hour? Cool. We can do another one. So I got these two. And this one. Two of them on the left here are kind of in the same vein, that kind of skirty. I think they might actually have been in the same pack of 3. And then there's this one, a little bit taller, not quite as slim, but more heroic and with a actual, like, little dragon thingy. So, which one should I do next? Make sure that the camera is actually... You can kind of see. Which one? The dragon one. Alright. I like the autofocus on this camera. Kind of pick a height and it just works. Let's see. So this lady, the dragon, if we do the dragon green, then we can do her more of an umbra color, or if I have a dark magenta could work. I've got that one, but that's a little bit more purpley than what I was thinking of. That's way too bright. Yeah, this camera was, I think, like 10% off, so I got it for $50. It was not bad. And it's a hell of a lot better than the webcam that I was using. And it comes with its own little arm stand. Like, I don't even need to attach it to anything. It's a flesh one. That one could work as a base. If we're bringing it up with a magenta, it might end up looking a little bit muddy, though, is my only concern. But that is what paint remover is for. I just don't want it looking off the desk and having a void pointed at my crotch. One time I asked somebody what color I should do, like what, for a monster, so it wasn't that bad, but they were like, orange and pink. It's like, what the hell? Luckily, the monster itself was an octopus kind of thing, so I was able to make it work with an orange skin and some purplish pink highlights and tentacles, but man, that could have been bad if I had asked on a different model. That was a cocky little bitch. I just wanted a challenge. As it turns out, pink can be pretty difficult, but orange is really difficult. Not as bad as yellow, but I've seen a like a tutorial recently on how to paint yellow, and at some point I'm going to need to try it out. So you said that you watched at least one of the VODs, right? Other than technical difficulties and things that I couldn't really prevent, was there anything that was not good? Oh, looking great? Alright. Not needing to improve in any specific area is good feedback. There's no glaring issues, at least. Other than having to wrestle the sound system every other time that I boot up. It's kind of dumb. I'm pretty sure if I only had one profile on this PC, it would be fine. But since I switched between the two, and they have different settings for different use cases, Smashing. Like, I know that I've ruined at least one VOD because, since nobody was there to let me know, I just didn't have sound going on for essentially the entire thing. And so I had to scrap the recording entirely. Because it was, I had sound on, but then the game volume wasn't working. And so I messed with sound settings, somehow managed to reverse that, and then the game sound was playing through the entire thing, but there was no voice. And so obviously, over an hour and a half of a streamer with no streamer voice on it, just the model twitching in the corner and the gameplay, not exactly a keepable thing. At least that one was the first in a potential series, so I could just cut my loss and say, I could either do it again or I don't know, do something, or just not do anything with it. But if anybody had popped in and be like, hey, is there no sound? Then I would have known a lot earlier. But having no regular viewers or people in chat, it's technical issues like that might not get spotted if I don't do a sound check every single time. Alright, this may end up looking really bad. Let's go. You need a scoot. Gonna be dipping out soon. Dipping out now. Well, thanks for coming in. It was nice to see you. Nice to talk. If you have time tomorrow, there'll be another stream, same time. You watch me get scared at a video game. Have a good day. Now, what really needs to happen is the interaction that was going on. The algorithm could suggest me to more people who might pop in and also want to talk. It's a tall ask, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Oh, great YouTube algorithm, send me a viewer. They don't need to be the best viewer, but a nice viewer who talks. If I could be a viewer for myself, I would. I know that I'm great at it. Is it just me, or does this particular music have a different genre than the other ones? It's like Animal Crossing / The Sims. Specifically the Sims shopping screen. Yeah, this isn't coming together as good as I would have hoped. The colors don't really blend all that well, so I'm just painting magenta on top of a brown. And not in a way that gives me interesting depth or anything. It's just magenta, but any spots that I missed are brown. Oh well, maybe it'll come up in the highlight. The shading and highlighting phase. I got this one skin tone and I'm gonna use it. I think I have 2 skin tones in total, but this is the one that I'm gonna use. Also, it's right here. I tossed in the parts of the last 3D print that I did that had failed, the ones that I posted about on Twitter. I printed out a new set of those and the rest of the same model. And that was what I was doing before stream, and it looks like it came out. I don't think there's any more problems with it. So I should be able to assemble it after this. And assembling is one of my favorite parts of the modeling process. God, this paint is a little bit too dry. Is her hand supposed to be bent like that? Or was it bent to the side at some point? Honestly, it could go either way. And this crease on it makes me think that she's actually wearing gloves. Definitely possible. We're just gonna finish up with this one today. I will take some pictures, switch the thumbnail to the new stuff. So if I don't post the thumbnail with a particular model, then I don't have to commit until I actually get there. It's a little bit funny that each of these takes about as much time as I originally put into that first 3D model. About an hour. Well, I guess maybe it was a little bit less than an hour. It's closer to like 40 or 50 minutes. But still. Carefully hand painting a model takes about as much as globbing a larger model. It's still up there. I've got it on a piece of paper just in case there was still some excess resin in it. Oops. And now the leg. My coworkers are not going to have a fun time next week because I've had my vacation planned since the beginning of the year, since the previous manager was around. And so I knew at that point that I could get away with scheduling my flight earlier than my vacation actually started. And then the new manager, and time started getting thrown around, so I had to make special care. It's like, you can't schedule me on these times. I assumed when I made these that I would have the time off, and I will not be available. If you try and put me on, I promise you I won't be there. So I'm like, okay, you sure you can't make Friday? Yes, I'm sure I can't make it on Friday. 100%. You don't want to have to try and pay me for that extra time. But the problem is that during that extra couple days at the beginning, when it's not actually the week of, is during somebody else's vacation, which wouldn't have been a problem, except for now, another one of my coworkers has called in with a severe case of family problems. And so they're not going to be back for almost a month, which has left us immediately short-staffed. When I get back, I fully anticipate having way more hours for at least a little bit to make up for that one guy being gone. And honestly, now is not the time for a non-US born citizen to probably be trying to fly out and back into the United States. Like, I hate to say it, but that dude might have some serious problems. Well, that's neither here nor there. We'll find out when he tries to get back. So if I were green, I would start with this. This paint's actually held up really well. Especially in comparison to the others. That's not too bright, is it? No, it's fine. At least I think so, and currently I'm the only one that matters. Yeah, this week has been a rough time for the VTuber community. VShojo has decided that it is going to shit the bed in the worst way possible to people who really did not need that. Ooh, the primer did not get the underside of these wings. It should be fine, because since it's on the underside, that shouldn't get touched ever, so the paint, even though it's a little bit more delicate, should be, it shouldn't chip at all. But yeah, I've just been watching all of these videos where more people are coming forward with their grievances, and it's not looking good. Like, there's no way they come back from this, right? They are 100% dead in the water. They have no talents anymore. There's literally one that's still signed off, signed up with them, and she's the one that was on vacation or taking a break or something. Probably not taking a vacation. But even she has removed the emblems from her thing, even if she hasn't come forward with an official graduation or anything. Kitty. This went all over my feed, and man, if they couldn't make money when they had all their talents, there is no way they're going to make money now that they have no talents. And their reputation is destroyed, so they're not going to get any new ones. The ones that haven't even debuted yet have already left. Like, yeah, I was going to be in the next wave. I'm parting ways with the company. Oof. This is one of those times where I kind of look at what happened and it's like, I wouldn't have done it that way. I probably would have paid my talents. I'd be an awful CEO just because I wouldn't do any of the underhanded bullshit. These feet are so small. It's really funny if I suspend Sarah for like a second, YouTube will automatically delete all of the past chatting history, because that's how that works. So I could absolutely, for no reason, go scorched earth on it. Instead of going back to that, we'll pick up... Is this one? Or is it this one? No, it was this one. So we'll use the bloodstone again, the boot. Sometimes I wonder if my manner of speaking is off, because sometimes I'll get hung up in the middle of a sentence. And I have at least one friend who doesn't do it on purpose, but the way that they talk, they can definitely essentially sense blood in the water, so if you pause while talking, they'll just launch into a sentence. The problem is I'm an extremely good listener, and they are a extremely good talker. So they talk, I listen, and everything usually works out. The only problem is the rare occasion where I have something that I want to say. Then I have to kind of fight to get my words out. There have been a couple times where either I or somebody else have called them out on kind of being a little bit too excited to be here, if you know what I mean. He's also the kind of person who doesn't do personal stuff. I've tried talking to him when I was having issues in the past of a personal variety, like interpersonal variety with somebody else. And it was definitely more of a not really acknowledge the comment, move on, and then as we were saying goodbye, just a, oh yeah, and I'm sorry for that thing that's happening to you. It's like, okay. You are garbage at listening. It's fine, it's fine. Just a situation where I wish that somebody could do for me what I do for other people. Which is why I like this one coworker a whole lot, because he is not only interested in what I have to say, but also listens when I do say stuff. My manager, not so much. If I agree with my manager, he's fine. And he likes me because I'm a good listener and he likes to talk too, but good talker, not good listener. I know that I'm a little bit better at communication when there's a buffer and I can have a couple seconds to rearrange my thoughts and spell check and possibly Google a reference before I post it. Which is why I'm a good chatter in somebody else's stream. But that doesn't help me in my own. I forgot the sleeve. This girl missing a sleeve. I also don't know when YouTube removes the delay between chatter and streamer, but I could definitely tell, unless she was just taking a while to write back. But it seemed like the responses were a little bit slower than what I've noticed in other people's. I just closed this and I saw something I need to fix. Here. There. Okay. So, ideally, I would have some white to mix into that for the highlight and just have a little bit of white and a lot of bit of the same color to bring it up. But seeing as how that's not how we're operating this machine today, let's start with... I'll definitely do the flesh wash again, because that's got more of a red base. Let's see. Okay, maybe a little bit too much water. God, you should have seen my Baldur's Gate run today. when I started out going down to the river to save the boy, because one of the things that I want to do in this run is get the achievement for Everybody Lives for the tieflings. And so try doing the heartbeat encounter. First off, my character was hypnotized the entire time, except for maybe one turn. Lae'zel also hypnotized for a majority of the thing. Will gets downed really early. Plays a little bit of yo-yo because he gets healed, stands up, and then gets knocked back down. He gets up again. Never gonna keep him down. And it was just awful. The boy also never broke, which I think is pretty typical unless you interrupt the thing, but I was trying to interrupt that song and it was not interrupting for the life of me. Just absolutely tanking every hit. Either missing entirely or making the save. And she eventually got the kid up on the platform, ganked him, so it's like, okay, well, we're starting this over again. Next run, I missed so many 60% chances to hit in a row. Disgusting. What's that on her neck? Is that... It looks like jewelry. So that's what we're gonna do with it. She seems more like a silver kind of deal. Maybe a darker silver if I have it. Oh yeah, I can hear that one shaking around in there. Dragon's gonna get a little bit of that ink. But he's so small that it's not really even gonna do a whole lot. Now the problem is she's very moist right now. Incredibly sopping. So we gotta be careful what we paint at this moment until the wash is done drying. But I'm gonna try and dry brush on her hair with this. Alright. It's probably fine. You know, another thing that I could do, if I felt like it, I have everything set up for the game to be playing on the screen. I just didn't. Let's see. Play a little bit of that while it's drying. So Not Monday Cafe is a game where you're essentially owning this cafe and you're trying to get people fed and keep people... you want to make your stuff pretty and give people different things to eat, different more expensive things. We've got a quest to interact with customers, so you can get a little bit of money by just poking them. I have to poke this owl 125 times. The cash rewards are good. I remember when it didn't actually reward cash. Anyway, it's got this idle aspect where you gotta tend your farm, but you can also hire people to work the farm. I don't think I had Mabu Tofu. Anyway. I don't know how often these suggestions are made, but I do tend to come back to a lot of them. Well, anyway. She's probably dry by now. Close enough to it. That wash did just shy of nothing. Let's ever waste my time. So I don't want to do... I've got this neon freaking green if I wanted to go scorched earth, but I think this one's not that much different. Could do this olive color. It's probably the closest I'm going to get to a highlight for this one. And this is a very liquidy color. So using it as a dry brush is definitely something you can do. Oh, man, this is not... Okay, maybe a little bit. Maybe it's working kinda. Not even really. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the greens will sometimes just be very liquidy. Let's try this one. Second verse, same as the first. A little bit greener and a whole lot worse. Yeah, I can kind of see it. What I really need is... I think what I really need to do is do a light-ish dry brush with the red. I didn't shake that at all. So the red should make the green pop, but too much, and we got a problem. Well, you can definitely see it, if nothing else. And then we'll go over that one with the same green from before. Actually, all right, I'm trying something. This is definitely experimenting a lot, but let's do a very, very pink highlight on top of that red. All right. And now let's do the green, and we'll see how the light and the contrast work together. All right, I think the vision kind of came through. Yeah, that might have been just what I needed. Just gotta make sure that the red isn't showing through anywhere. All right. Good enough. Still gotta bring up this magenta. And I still don't have a white. So, let's take this magenta, get a drop of it down. And then we'll combine it with just a squirt of this, of the bone color, which is a off yellow white. Just a little bit. Maybe more than that. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit brighter. Okay, that seems fine. Ooh, that's still way too wet. This dry brush is probably a little bit too saturated with water. Alright, I can see it a little bit. I don't hate it. It's very subtle. Yeah, not bad. I got a little bit of the pink on the hair highlights, which is not good, but eh. It's fixable, I suppose. Ooh, too heavy. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. I didn't just fuck it up. You know what I should do for this one? Eyes. And by eyes, I mean just these off-white orbs. Again, these hand-sculpted miniatures really, really, really do not want to take symmetry as a lesson. It'd be better to just do them green or red. Yeah. I figure at this point, if anybody's watching, they will like me for my stunning personality. And I can get away with not saying quite so much, because anybody who's not impressed has already left. Alright. Let's grab just a little bit of silver for the gems. Or the jewelry that I can see on her. And that should be about it. I don't feel like painting the actual jewel. It should be fine. It's just magenta. She's got a necklace. I think that's a necklace. This silver works really good on top of a black. It not quite as much if you're just doing it on another color. Okay, I missed a spot. Do a little bit in here to separate these two. All right. I think that will be it for the most part. So once those are completely dry, I'll make sure that it's not very glossy. I've got some matte finish that I can do if they end up being a little bit out there. But yeah, other than that, got a little bit of dried paint. In the cap. And just get that out with these scissors. Because that will keep this from closing. And any more air gets in there and it'll become unusable. Okay, cool. So yeah, that'll be it for today. This was fun, nice, relaxing, and painting. Need to put her on a base. But that'll be it for me. Same time tomorrow for that old horror game. What have I done to myself? But until then, have a great evening.